Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn new skill every time you visit. So keep updating yourself by subscribing to the channel.
Alright, so today we'll together do the prime atom question, right? Let's first understand what is this prime atom number all about. The question says that a number prime atom has to be a prime first, has to be an atom number. What's the atom number? The square of a number and the square of its reverse. Because if you do the square of the number, then you reverse the square and they have to be same like 30, reverse is 31. Then you square 30, it becomes 169. Right? And then you reverse 169, it becomes 961. That 961 should be equal to the square of the 30. All right. And over here, the question says you have to take, okay, we'll do step by step. We'll try to do in the simplest possible way. All right. So that every student can understand this. All right. So let's go to the BlueJ directly. So let's BlueJ. Let me pull out. I've already made a format. Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep switching between the question and the region. So first is prime. So first I'll make a function which will check whether the number is prime or not. So how do you check a number is a prime or not? If a number has only two factors, it's a prime, right? So my first function will return a boolean. It will say true or false. Is prime. All right, and I'll take a number. This will take a parameter as a one number or integer as a parameter and check if it's a prime or not. Right. So for check prime and not, as I told you that a prime has only two factors, I'll take a variable factor where I'll count the factors. So I'll run a loop from 1 till that number and I'll divide that number by each of these numbers. And if that number gets divided by any of these numbers, it's a factor. Okay, that's a simple logic. If any of these number divides that number, it's a factor. So I'll increase the value of that factor. Okay. And if that fact happens to be 2, it's my prime number. So I'll return true. Else I'll return false. Okay. So here. So my first function is done. So let me check the bracketing. In fact, if this closes here. If this, okay, fine. Now I need to check it out whether this function is working or not. So what I'll do is, and this is the best way, create a function. Check your function is working or not. If you're sure, then move on to the next part of the code. So public void main. Here I'll call my uh, is prime number and pass a number to it, which will ensure that this function is working or not. Is prime. And I'll pass the 13 to it. The 13 happens to be a prime, so it shall be true. All right. Okay. So okay, here I need to use return false. Now I can check compile and I'll quickly check it. That's the best way to do a code. At least you're sure that this part of the code is working and don't panic at the end of the when the time is passing by and you're not able to and none of your not a single fraction of the code is working. So this way, at least this part is working. True. It says true. Let me give another number and check it's a prime. It checks for that or not. Say let's say 12. So for 12, it gives me false. Okay. So that's the previous output. Let me show it again. It gives me false. So that's perfect. So my first function is working. Okay. Now my next function is reverse, right? So the reverse function is going to take a number and reverse it and return it back. So this function have to have a return type as integer. reverse, and it will take a number. Now you know in the digit breaking how the number breaks up, right? The number say 132. So first 2 comes out, all right. Then 3 comes out, then 1 comes out. So actually you get it from backside. What you have to do, you have to assemble that, create a number out of its digits, right? So if you multiply this by some value and some value, like in a 3 digit, so 100, then 10, then 1, then you will get 231. All right, but you have to generalize this and the reverse formula, I shall tell you. In a loop, do like this, reverse it to 10 plus digit. Okay, let me show it here also. So my reverse function is going to take that number n and use a variable reverse where I'm reversing it. So what I'll do is I'll digit break. And you remember in the last many of the videos we have told you that this is the digit breaking loop. So I'll take a digit also, and it says digit equals to number modulus 10, and number is equal to number. This is a digit breaking loop. And then you reverse it. So rev equals to rev into 10 plus digit. All right, let me explain this. Its number was 131, 132 rather. Then first digit broke up was 2. Okay. And then this becomes rev into 10. Rev was 0. So 0 into 10 plus 2. That is 2. So this is rev now. Next time you 3 got broken up, right? And rev is 2. So it is rev into 10. So 2 into 10 plus 3. This is 23. Now rev is 23. Okay, this is rev. Next time it 1 came out. So now it is rev into 10. 23 into 10 plus 1, which is 231. So this is how this particular loop will give you a reverse number. Okay, I think that makes sense now. So let me just erase all this calculation and check this code. And then at the end, I have to return that number which is a reverse. Let me just remove extra spaces over here so that the code occupies. So that most of the codes are visible on this. Okay. So here I'll say return REP. Accept. And now how will I check here? I'll just it's prime, so I already checked. So I'll just call reverse. Reverse, and I'll just set a number to it 133. It shall give me the reverse of that. Print the reverse of that. Okay, so here yeah, 321 it's giving me. Let me check for another number. Say 1671. Let me clear the terminal. 15. Yeah, 1761. Reverse. That's working. Okay, so this much now you know that two functions are done. So you are pretty sure, pretty confident also that you will be able to finish this program. That's the main thing with this when the student faces out. So while checking them during the exam, that they get nervous. They figure out the logic somehow, but they just don't put it in a line and try to compile the code at the end. And then when there is a little error because of it, full code is not working, they panic. So this is the best way. Okay, so we got a reverse, we got a prime. Now let's go to the question and see what else. Okay. Now, what I'll do, actually, we have to generate a number between a range of m and n, but first I'll just check whether a particular number is prime atom or not. If I'm sure that that is working, then my full code is working, and then I'll generate the numbers. Okay. So first I need to check whether 13 is a prime atom or not. All right, as it's given in the question. 13 and 3 of them. So let's check the prime atom condition now. The prime atom condition says, put it here, see, 30. So I have to square the number and its reverse. Okay. And then the reverse of that number shall be equal to the square of the number. So you have a number, first you square it. Okay, you get 169. The reverse, you square it, you get 961. Now you send this number to the reverse function. Okay, and then the reverse, whatever the reverse function is returning, it should match with this. Okay, let me explain this over here on the code. I'm going to use this. Right. That's good. So this goes away. Okay, so let's take a variable reverse, which will actually hold the reverse of this number. Okay, which has been input. So how it will do, I'll call the reverse function simply and send this number to it. So I got a reverse. Now I have to do square of the number, square of the reverse. Okay. So let me do that. And they should match. Not exactly they should match, but let's square something like that. So let me put that. I'll keep on explaining to you. So if math dot power of number 2, okay, square the number and math dot power of reverse 2, square of the reverse. All right. So if I say, if 13 is my number, square is 31, right? So 13 square is going to be, as per the question, 169, and that's 961. So this is going to be 169, and this is 961. So these two values I got from here and here. But the question says the reverse of this shall match with this. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just send this part, okay, left hand side part into the reverse function. So it will reverse. It will become 961. If they matches, it's a done. So I'll call the reverse function again here with this value, the value which I got from the squaring the number. But since the reverse function takes an integer input, and you know that the output of this particular method power is a decimal, so you need to typecast it. Just typecast it. Okay. If they matches, it's a prime atom, right? So I'll just write for the now. I'll just print prime atom, and then I'll do rest of the code. So system dot out dot print atom, actually not prime because we haven't checked for the prime so far. So it's atom number, and else it's not. Just to ensure, we have to check our program step by step. No. Okay, let's check for 13. Compile this code. And let me go to the screen. Atom. So I created an object. I run that code, and it gives me atom. Yeah, so that number is a prime atom. Let me check another number. So I'm ensuring that it's not the else particle is working 20. I gave 20. I compile. And it's also atom number. Okay, let me check another one. 11. So it's working for all the prime atom numbers. Now let's check another one. So 45, which should not be an atom number. So we check the atom number, but we have to check prime atom, right? So under this, if we'll next one more condition, we'll call the prime function with a number. All right. So we say if s prime of n, that NO, which is matching the square and everything, happens to be prime also. If the prime function is also returning true for it. All right. The function which return boolean we can check directly like this, or you can put equal to true. That is also fine, but this way also we can check. So then it's actually a prime atom, prime atom, not prime atom. Okay. So clear this. The 13 it says not a prime atom. Let me check why. Okay, so right now the number put is 45, so it's saying not. Then I put 13, it should say prime atom. So 25, and I want this. Yeah, it says prime. Okay. So now this is working fine, this part. Now we'll go to the question and see what actually we have to do. So let's go to the question. This is working fine. If this is difficult for you to understand, I'll just make it very simple. Just call every function. I'll do that after this. Okay, let me just finish up with this line of code. So now you have to get actually two numbers. If you go to the examples, you have to get m and n, and between m and n, you have to generate all the prime atom integers. You also have to check for the validity. If m has to be less than n, if m is more than n, then it's just invalid. You have to print. So let's do that. So now we need two more weight numbers. So now numbers will not be assigned, it will be taken from the between the range m and n. So m and number. User will give values of m and n. So I'll ask the two ranges from user. So ask the user to give me the m and n. And m equals to sc dot next int, m equals to sc dot next int. Okay. Now we'll run a loop from scanner. I need to introduce scanner object. So okay. Now I need to just run a loop between m to n. So for int I equals to n, first I'll check for the validity n. Sorry. If m is less than n, all right, or you check for the invalid first. So if m is more than n, then you say invalid and exit the code. Invalid. Else we don't do rest of the code. Okay. So this reverse I'll declare here only. Okay. Now the else part, when it is within the range, I have to just run a loop from between m to n. So for int I equals to n, I less than equals to n, because I have to generate all the prime atoms between that range. Okay, so this shall end here. And now your number is actually I. So I'll just take a NO equals to, sorry. So I pull out the value of I and store it into NO, and then that NO is being used for checking all those things, right? And I don't have to print the message prime or not. I just have to print that number if it has happens to be a prime number with a little space. Okay, and if it's not, I don't need to see the printer. Okay, so this, I think now the code is complete. Let's check for it. Compile. Here's the something. Brackets. Yeah. Okay. They ask me MNN. Let me go to the question and check what MNN they are asking. 5 and 100. All right. 5 and 100. I'll give 5 and 100. 11, 13, and 31. 11, 13, and 31. That's correct. The next example, I give 100 and 200. So I'll run it again. 100 and 200. 101, 101, 130. 101, 103, 130. Perfect. I have to count the frequency also that I'll do. Then 50 and 70 happens to be no. So nothing is there. So between 50 and 60, nothing is there. 50, what is that? 50 and 70. 50 and 70. Nothing is there. And then if it is 700 and 450, invalid. So 700 and 450 should be invalid because the first range is more than the second one. It works. Okay, I just need to count the frequency and print it. That's it. So this question is done, almost done. So for counting the frequency, whenever the number is generated, I'll take a variable frequency. Frequency of primary. Always keep the variable name similar to the job they are doing. That's the reason. Okay, so here I will increase. I just need a bracket now because I have more than one statement here. I'll increase this. And then at the end, I need to put the frequency. Frequency of prime atom somewhere here. Variable frequency prime atom. Just copy. Okay, now I think it should work with every options done. First condition is 5 and 100. 500. Frequency is 3. Correct. Next is 100 to 100. Frequency is 3 again. So then 300. 100 and 200 is 3. The question was asking 100 and 200. That's, I'll do it for that also. Then 50 and 70 is 0 and 700 and 450. 50, 70. 0 and 700 and 450. Invalid. Okay. But it says invalid out input and that it ends. It's not showing the frequency. Okay, so my program shall end from there because this is not mentioned in there. Let me do that change. So how will I do that? As soon as I say invalid here, I should exit. So system dot dot exit rather. I'll just take the last one now. It's 700 450. Yeah, 700 and 450. Invalid. Okay, so it should end now. So this is the solution of this question. All right. So if you break your program, my suggestion is if you break your program into function, it's very easy for you to do. If the number is equals to the square of that, the prime number. It works. Okay. You can check it out with this also. It shall work. Let me just run it once for one input. And then 200. Okay. So it works. Thank you very much for giving me so much of time to watch this video. Thank you. Oh, see the code again.
If you are new to the channel, please subscribe it. Also press the bell notification so that you get notification as soon as I release a new video. Share and like the video.